hides between the blue you once knew.
Hello and welcome to Shuffling Notes, a channel where we discuss everything about music. I'm your co-host Razi.
And I'm Prankit.
So there's this one, probably a widely discussed idea. It's like Pink Floyd's music that has grown from Syd Barrett to now David Gilmour.
Pink Floyd.
You're the worst.
Yeah, and I guess like adding to the fact that Syd was really only part of the inception of the group and left around 2 years later, because I guess Gilmour had like a lot more time to sort of mature with the band and really sort of create the what we call the Pink Floyd sound.
Yeah, and I don't want to just generically put the two together and say this is better, this is bad, but it's just probably a comparison study.
Yeah, no, that sounds good, because I think trying to decide like what's better would be a pretty impossible task.
because we haven't seen Syd as a member of the band for a longer time, and he's done some amazing stuff, even as a solo. Like he's written and composed songs, and it was still 1972, I think.
I think he was with Floyd 65 to 68, so I think that adds up.
Yeah, so from what I've read and what I've seen in interviews, it's like the producers, Barrett himself, and even Roger Waters later, like Pink Floyd is something that could have possibly only originated from Barrett's idea and his thought. And as Rogers has been like put on as that one who can articulate better, and it just makes it easy for him to take over.
Do you know how it was, I guess, like after Syd left?
He didn't leave as per se. Like the band, after over a period of time, like it just kind of refused because he was not in his right state of mind probably, and the band refused to play with him eventually. And there's one song he wrote, "Have You Got It Yet?" question mark, and that song is like Roger Waters adds that the song was simple at first, but every time that they tried to practice it, Syd kept on changing the notes, and this was like at this point, Waters was like, I can't do this anymore, because every time he was trying to match up to it, he couldn't.
Right, I guess that makes sense. I remember reading like Syd was also having issues live, right, in front of audiences when performing, I think during the same time.
Yeah, and so it's like all the wow factor or the psychedelic part of the instrumental and vocals was something that Syd added, with their performances just like supported by trippy light shows, and along with Syd like really doing these bizarre stuff with his guitar, like and the zipper lighter and stuff, like it was really creative, and creating these long lasting notes and making those rhythmic, but I don't know how to put it, like
I mean, I guess you could like describe it as psychedelic, but in like a very like raw and experimental and almost like unfiltered kind of way. Like you wouldn't describe it as polished, but I mean that in like a good way. Like that's a compliment.
Probably, and we can go with that as adjectives for now. Anyway, like Waters and other members, like along with the newly joined Gilmour, who was also brought in by Syd, they focused on the instrumental jams, because they essentially, what Floyd is about, these instrumental longer notes and these, each song being longer than the other.
Yeah, I guess like one to note would be Atom Heart Mother, like taking that full, complete jamming session and breaking it in the four chunk, rather than making that 17-18 minute music piece, you know.
That's that's true.
Yeah, and I guess with Gilmour, even though like he was inspired through Syd's work.
You know, well, that is true. You know, the echo sounds that Syd creates with the guitar, was actually Gilmour's idea initially, because they've been friends since childhood, and they learned the guitar together, and they practiced, experimented with it together, and it was just that Syd could bring it into Pink Floyd, even though it was David Gilmour's original idea at the
Right,
beginning.
right. I mean, I guess musically, you can tell some of those differences as well. Like Syd Barrett's playstyle featuring these like dissonant chords and these like unconventional chord progressions, and like like Syd's the lyrics and the music style, like they had this dreamlike quality to it, and often they feel very abstract. And I, at least for me, like thematically, they feel like they kind of revolve around like insanity or madness. Whereas like I think Gilmour's music has like this completely different style. It's so much more like atmospheric. Like his leads and solos, they are sort of rooted in blues and jazz. And thematically, I think it does feel more mature and reflective and polished when you compare to Syd. Don't you think?
That makes like a lot of sense when you put it like that. It's just, that's one major difference that, while I see it in retrospect, or hear it in retrospect, I can see that one major difference between Gilmour songs and Barrett songs.
I mean, imagine like if they both stayed on together, like the type of music both of them would go on to create, with like, Syd working on those like song structures and chord progressions, and you've got Gilmour working on like his solos, right? It could have been something very interesting.
And Waters having his own agenda to the whole thing, and just it was like thinking, while creating some great pioneer music, they were always stuck to Syd's loss as a band member.
It sounds like a new video idea.
True, and but yeah, without doubt, and Waters and Gilmour is one that I would want to cover sometime, like take a shallow dive, and of course, not to forget, we need to pay attention to Rick Wright and Nick Mason as they deserve.
Yeah. I mean, especially I guess with Rick Wright actually being the vocals in so many places that people don't realize.
Exactly, and there's always one for the next time.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess so. Like concluding the video, I'd probably say like Syd Barrett and David Gilmour, the two of the most influential musicians in the history of like rock and psychedelic, or even just music in general. And I mean, I think everyone would agree that they both played a significant role in shaping the Pink Floyd sound, with, Syd Barrett being a founding member, but then Gilmour sort of working on that and maturing it further. And they've both left this indelible mark on the music industry. I think the music will continue to be celebrated for years to come.
Yeah, that's true. But I think we have only touched the tip of the iceberg, and there's so much left, like unsaid, and so. But guys, feel free to let us know what you think about the discussion, and if you have any ideas of some more nuances that we can catch from Barrett's era to Gilmour's era.
I'm sure they are.
We'll see you next time. Cheers.